The airport was packed on Monday morning. Announcements echoed through the loudspeakers every few minutes. Angela stood off to the side next to her old mop. Her uniform was soaked with dirty water. Hot coffee had just spilled all over her. No warning, no apology. The woman who did it. She scoffed, then walked away without a word. She wore a tailored suit, designer heels, oversized luxury handbag. She acted like Angela was the problem. What kind of janitor cleans like that? You ruined the shoes I just bought. Angela bowed slightly, murmuring, I'm sorry. I was in the middle of mopping. But the woman didn't listen. She threw one last insult, useless, just standing there like an idiot, then turned and walked off coldly. Angela stood still, her hands trembling. No one said anything. No one checked if she was okay. Only the sound of a few snickers nearby. A couple pitying glances, but mostly indifference. Angela picked up her mop again, head down, started wiping the spilled coffee. The stain spread across the stone floor, mixed with old water and cheap soap. It looked like someone else's mess, but it lived on her, and no one cared. From a distance, a man was watching. Black coat, sharp eyes. His name was Logan, a journalist. He was heading to New York for work. But this scene stopped him in his tracks. He pulled out his phone, hit record, not to post it online for clout, but in case justice ever needed proof. He filmed the woman's face, her condescension, her words. Then he turned the camera to Angela, still kneeling, still wiping eyes red, but no tears falling. No one knew yet that this video would explode online in 48 hours. Right now, Angela just kept working, finishing her shift like nothing happened. No one knew she was a single mom. Her husband had died in a car crash last year. She was raising 5-year-old Lily by herself, 3 jobs every day just to stay afloat. Mornings at O'Hare, afternoons washing dishes at a Korean diner, evenings tutoring online to buy groceries. No one knew, no one asked, except one camera and one man who refused to stay silent. Logan slid his phone back into his coat, walked over quietly, said nothing, just watched as Angela finished cleaning. She pushed her cart away. He gave her a small nod full of respect. In that moment, he already had a plan. Angela didn't know what was coming. She just hoped tomorrow no one would yell. Hoped she had enough for Lily's milk. Hoped for just one day without pain. But today was the beginning of something big. A spilled coffee, a forgotten woman, and a world that was about to pay attention. Angela, just a regular person, was about to step into the light in a way she never saw coming. That afternoon, Angela finished her shift on time. She went home to her small apartment in the suburbs. Lily was already sitting at the doorstep, holding a crayon drawing of them in the airport. "Mommy, I drew you with your mop." Angela smiled, even though her eyes were still red. She pulled Lily into a long, warm hug. "Did you eat well, baby? Did you nap?" Lily nodded, smudging ink on her wrinkled dress. Angela looked at the faded fabric. She knew it wasn't enough, but she was trying. Every single day. What she didn't know was that across the city, in a downtown newsroom, an email had just arrived. It was from Logan Pierce, a seasoned journalist. Attached the video of Angela being humiliated. Subject line, only 3 words. Someone forgotten. The editorial room went silent. On screen, Harper Wallace, a high-profile attorney, 3-time CNN guest. Her cold expression, her smug eyes, And across from her, Angela, not fighting back, not even speaking, just mopping, one woman bowing, the other towering. The whole newsroom froze. Upload it anonymously to Twitter, the editor-in-chief said. We don't need to get too involved. Let the public take it from here. 2 hours later, the video had over 50,000 views. The hashtag Respect Cleaners was everywhere. Angela had no idea. She was home boiling eggs, cooking instant noodles for Lily. But online, the world was shaking. Someone posted, "I've met her. She works in Terminal A. Always greets people." Another wrote, "Can't believe that's Harper Wallace. Didn't she speak at a social justice forum?" The story spread to Facebook, then YouTube. People started digging into Harper's past. Old racist comments surfaced, screenshots, tweets, interviews. A real storm was coming. The next morning, Angela arrived for work as usual. She hadn't even set her bag down when her supervisor called out, "Angela, reporters are waiting outside. They want to interview you about yesterday." Angela blinked. "Yesterday, I don't understand." The manager handed her a phone. Angela stared at the screen. There she was, in her soaked uniform. The coffee, the yelling, Harper's face. A bold headline read, "Top lawyer shames airport janitor in public." Angela felt dizzy. Her face turned pale. I don't want to be in the news," she whispered. "I just want to work. Please, no trouble." But trouble had already found her. Across town, Harper Wallace was gripping her iPad. Her face drained of color. Her jaw clenched. "What is this? Who the hell filmed this?" Her assistant stammered, "Someone at the airport. Maybe." The video's going viral across platforms. Harper shouted, "Get my legal team on the phone. I'm suing for illegal filming, privacy invasion." But her lawyer just sighed. "That's going to be hard, Harper. It's a public space. They had every right to record." He paused. "You should consider a public apology." Harper hurled her coffee mug. It shattered on the floor. "I'm not apologizing to anyone. I'm the victim here of media harassment." She didn't know. Her reaction would only make things worse, because another video was about to drop. This time, it was a voice recording from the VIP lounge. Harper's voice. "I don't apologize to a damn janitor." Logan had that recording, but he hadn't posted it yet. He wanted to find Angela first, to ask her what she wanted, if she was ready to step into the light, or preferred to remain unheard. That evening, Angela got home late. On the way, she noticed strangers looking. Some pointed, some whispered. She felt uneasy. Her hand gripped the strap of her bag tighter. At home, Lily was fast asleep on the couch. Angela sat down, opened her phone. Hundreds of messages, some full of kindness, encouragement, gratitude, others vicious, supporters of Harper calling her names. Angela took a deep breath. She never wanted fame. She only wanted to survive the month, but the wave had come, and it wasn't stopping. She knew it was time to face it. The next morning, Angela didn't show up at work. She called in, took a day off. The first time in years, she needed space. To breathe, to think clearly. She made herself a simple cup of tea, sat by the window, watching the damp street. On the table, a pile of unopened letters. On her phone, hundreds of unread messages. One of them made her stop. It was from a number she didn't know, but the tone was kind. "Hi, Angela. This is Logan Pierce. I'm the one who recorded the video that day. I didn't publish your name. I just want to know, are you okay?" Angela stared at the message. Her hand trembled, but her eyes stayed calm. She typed back a short reply. "I'm okay. I just need quiet." Logan understood. But he didn't stop there. If you ever want to speak up, I know a way. Not for cheap attention, but to protect others like you. Angela didn't respond that day. She closed her phone, held Lily in her arms. She remembered something her husband used to say. There'll come a time when you have to stand up. Not for yourself, but for those who can't. Angela looked at Lily, building a small puzzle on the floor. What kind of world would this child grow up in if her mother kept staying silent? If her mother never said enough? That night, Angela called Logan back. Her voice was soft but steady. I'll speak, she said, but I don't want drama. Logan answered right away. Then we'll do it the right way. 3 days later, Angela's voice aired on a podcast. No images, just her words, just the truth. Her voice was quiet, plain, but every word cut deep. I don't want to be famous. I want to live with dignity. I don't want anyone to go through that again. I don't want my daughter growing up believing that being poor means you have no worth. The podcast didn't need flashy video. It didn't need background music. Just that voice, raw and honest, was enough. People cried. People got angry. Listeners wrote letters to O'Hare Airport. They demanded a public apology from Harper Wallace. Pressure grew. Harper was summoned urgently. Contracts were dropped. Her talk show appearances canceled. She began to feel the world closing in. In a rushed press conference, Harper appeared, no makeup, no smile. She bowed her head, read from a printed statement. Her voice was stiff, her eyes still cold. I apologize to Miss Angela Reed. I was wrong. And I apologize to every worker who's been looked down on. The public didn't forgive her, but at least there were words. Angela heard about it while cleaning her kitchen. She paused, washed her hands, looked in the mirror. The woman staring back was still her, but something in her eyes had changed. A little brighter, a little firmer. She hadn't just cleaned a floor. She had started to clean up something deeper, something broken in how people saw others. That night, a package arrived. A small box wrapped in recycled paper. Inside, a handwritten note and a scholarship certificate from Roosevelt University. Logan had referred her to the school. The letter read, "You don't speak much, but you speak truth. We'd like to offer you a full scholarship, Field of Study Community Services Management." Angela read the letter 3 times before she believed it. She didn't cry. She just pressed her lips tight, then looked up at herself again. I don't live to be pitied, she whispered. I live so no one dares look down on me again. She hugged Lily close and whispered into her daughter's ear, Mama's going to college. We're starting over. Angela's first day at her new university. She wore an old white blouse, loose cream-colored slacks that didn't quite fit. Her hair was tied back neatly. No makeup, no accessories, but her posture confident. She walked into class. Eyes turned. Whispers followed. Younger students glanced and murmured, What's she doing here? She's old. Probably got a pity scholarship from that video. Angela heard every word, but said nothing. She opened her notebook and started writing. The professor walked in. The room went quiet. Today's lesson, social justice. The professor shared a story about an airport, about a woman humiliated in public. Angela looked up, met the professor's eyes. No one said her name, but everyone in that room knew. One student finally spoke. She's the woman from that video, the one who got coffee dumped on her. Angela turned toward him. I'm not famous, she said. I just refuse to stay silent. The room went still. The professor nodded. A warm smile followed. Maybe it's time we listen more, instead of judging so quickly. From that day on, Angela studied harder than anyone. She arrived early, stayed in the library late. She brought her own lunch, refilled her water bottle, No parties, no loud friend groups, just focus. One chapter at a time, one concept at a time. Meanwhile, the media tide was turning. Harper Wallace had lost 3 major law contracts. She launched a new show, but the public stayed cold. Then came the article published in a national magazine titled "The Quiet Ones Are Teaching Us More Than We Think." Logan wrote it. No drama, no exaggeration, just truth. It reached millions. Letters poured into the university. Anonymous donations came for Angela and Lily, still full of joy every afternoon, showing off her drawings, singing new songs, talking about her new friends. Angela knew she was finally stepping out of the shadows, but not everyone wanted her there. One evening, in a weekend night class, a few students whispered behind her. They gave a scholarship to someone who used to clean floors. Then why are we even trying? Angela stood, not angry, not shaken. She walked to the front of the class, asked to say a few words. I used to mop floors at O'Hare Airport. I was invisible for 4 years, but I'm not here for sympathy. I'm here because I didn't give up. I'm here to learn to serve others better. So my daughter grows up, never needing to bow her head. The professor clapped first. Then the room followed. It wasn't loud, but it was real. Those who had whispered earlier looked down silent. Angela didn't feel like she won. She just knew she wasn't afraid anymore. That night, Logan texted her again. I just heard your short speech. You should share it more broadly. Angela replied after a pause. I'm not great at social media. I'm just good at living and staying patient. Logan smiled reading it. Exactly. That's why your voice reaches people. One October afternoon on campus, Angela received an envelope she didn't expect. O'Hare Airport's logo sat in the top corner. Her hands trembled as she opened it. Inside, a formal invitation. We invite Ms. Angela Reed to speak at our conference. Theme, honoring the invisible workforce. Location, main hall, keynote speaker. Angela stared at the paper. The same airport where she once stood, soaked in coffee. The place she had walked out of in silence. And now they wanted her to return, not with a mop, but with a microphone. She thought of all those quiet evenings studying, of mornings skipping coffee to save every dime. She thought of her daughter and of her late husband. Angela closed her eyes, took a deep breath, and whispered to herself, I'll go. The announcement was posted on the airport's internal site. The communications team wrote with respect. Angela's journey is a reminder of quiet strength. We are honored to welcome her voice. 1 week later, Angela arrived at the airport on time, but this time no mop, no cleaning cart. She wore a pale blue blouse, a cream-colored coat. Beside her, Lily, a little taller now. They walked through the main entrance. No one stopped them. A front desk agent smiled and greeted her. Welcome, Ms. Reed. We've been expecting you. Angela nodded, her heart pounding like a drum. She walked down the hallway, the very same one where she'd once been shamed. She looked down. The floors were spotless. No spilled coffee, no cruel words, only the quiet steps of a woman who had risen. Inside the auditorium, seats were nearly full. Guests from all professions, all ages, a small stage at the front, one single microphone. The host called her up softly. Angela stepped forward. Hundreds of eyes followed her. She didn't look at the teleprompter. She didn't read from notes. She looked at Lily sitting in the front row, and she began with all the sincerity in her voice. I used to clean these floors for 4 years. I once stood soaked in coffee, and no one asked if I was okay. But I still cleaned, and I still smiled. Not because I was weak, but because I chose kindness. I don't want pity. I just want to be seen, to be respected, No one is born beneath anyone else. We're just placed in different positions. The room was still. Then soft claps. Then louder. Then an entire standing ovation. Lily cried, but they were tears of pride. Angela smiled. She didn't say another word, because sometimes silence speaks loudest. The ceremony ended, but its echo remained. News outlets covered the story. The speech went viral. One comment read, "She spoke for all of us." Another, "I was a janitor once, and I felt invisible too." A week later, the university held a special award ceremony. Angela received a certificate for exceptional inspiration, not for the highest grades, but for the greatest impact. Logan stood at a distance. He didn't come forward, but he sent one short message. "You did it, and you earned every bit of it." Angela read the message, smiled softly, and didn't reply, because by now, some things don't need words anymore. It was a quiet December night. Snow fell gently outside the window. Angela sat beside Lily, reading her a bedtime story. The room was small but full of warmth. The book was about a brave girl. Not a princess. No magic wand. Just a heart that refused to give up. Halfway through the story, Lily dozed off. Angela pulled the blanket up gently, kissed her daughter's forehead, then stepped into the tiny living room. The phone rang. It was Logan. "Hi, Angela. I have an invitation." She put him on speaker and poured herself a cup of tea. "We're launching a new organization. It's for women who've worked in labor jobs, cleaners, servers, caretakers. We need someone to lead it, someone who really understands them." Angela paused, then asked softly, "Are you saying you want me to lead it?" Logan chuckled. "Not me. Everyone wants you to. You didn't just survive, Angela. You gave people strength." Angela looked at her hands, rough, calloused, once used to grip a mop, to carry trash bins, now maybe ready to carry hope. "Give me a few days to think," she said. 3 days later, she sent a short email. "I accept, but I'm not a symbol. I'm just someone who used to be ignored and isn't silent anymore." The local news picked it up. Angela Reed appointed director of Empower Hands. From airport janitor to community leader, the media called her the quiet hero. But Angela, she still started every morning with a simple cup of tea, still took the bus with Lily, still wore old shoes, but walked tall. 1 year later, she returned to O'Hare Airport, not to clean floors, not to give a speech, but to meet the morning shift workers. She shook every hand, never raised her voice, just asked quietly, "How are you holding up today?" One woman hugged her eyes wet. "I watch your video every time I want to give up." Angela smiled, said nothing else, because she knew real strength doesn't shout. That night over dinner, Lily looked up and asked, "Mom, were you really sad before?" Angela paused, met her daughter's gaze. Warm, steady. "Yes, I was sad. I was hurt. I was silent. But then I realized I had to stand, not to win, but so you could see what hope looks like." Lily hugged her tight, her little face glowing. "I want to be strong like you someday." Angela smiled. Tears fell, but they didn't sting anymore, because now everything made sense. That spilled coffee, once humiliation, now a seed in the mud, and from that mud, a flower had grown. Not the prettiest flower, but the strongest one, and that is what made the world stop and notice. Sometimes in life, you'll be underestimated, pushed down, silenced. But if you can still stand, if you can still hold on to kindness, then no one can truly dim your light. You don't need fame to have worth. You just need resilience and the courage to stay true. Because somewhere, someone is watching. And because of you, they'll learn not to give up. If this story touched your heart, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And don't forget to subscribe for more quiet but extraordinary journeys like this one.